In this demo, we're going to take a look at the IBM DataPower Network configuration. Specifically, we're going to look at the management services. We're going to take a look at the Telnet service, followed by the SSH service, the Web Management Service, XML Management Service, the REST Management Service, and finally the Web B2B Viewer. We'll take a look at these, see how they're configured and how they're used within DataPower. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and log in to DataPower as admin. The management configuration category is only available when logged in as a privileged user and only when you are in the default domain. Click on Login and let's jump right to the Network Services area. Inside Network Services we have this management category. If we expand that category, you'll see the different management interfaces that we can configure. Let's start with Telnet Service. Telnet services on the appliance are Telnet handlers. They're available for compatibility with earlier versions to support client-initiated access to the CLI. Let's click on New, and we're going to go ahead and give it a name. And then we'll give it an explicit IP address. We'll go ahead and click on Apply. And there you have it. We have a new Telnet service that's listening on port 2300. DataPower's SSH service is the preferred way to access the CLI. By default, the service is disabled and set to port 22 on all IP addresses. Let's go ahead and enable it and give it a specific IP address. We're also going to change the port to prevent any port conflicts I might have on this same subnet. The access control list is currently set to allow access from any IP address. We'll leave that set as is, but you could modify it to only allow access from specific IP addresses. Let's go ahead and click on Apply. Next, we'll configure the Web Management Service. The Web Management Service is what is used to enable the DataPower GUI. This is typically enabled to run on port 9090 on all IP addresses during initialization. Let's go ahead and also change this IP address to a specific IP address. We're going to leave the port number as the default. We're going to leave the access control list open, which will allow access from any IP address. The save configuration overwrites, when enabled, saves the configuration and overwrites the startup config with the running config. The idle timeout right now is set to 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes. I don't want my CLI logging me off after 10 minutes, so I'm going to set this to 3600. Give me an hour of idle time if I have to have it. The Advanced tab, we'll click on this. This allows us to set an SSL server profile. Right now, DataPower is using the default certificate for this service. If we want to use our own certificate, we can add a custom SSL server profile. I have created one earlier. I'll go ahead and pick that one, and that will allow us to use a different set of certificates for this service. And then I'll click on Apply. The XML management interface is used to programmatically configure DataPower using SOAP scripts based on DataPower's SOAP-based configuration management API. Let's go ahead and change this IP address also to use the E3 IP address. We also want to make sure we enable this. We'll leave the default port as 5550. The default access control list we'll leave in place, which allows access from all IP addresses. All the enabled services by default that are checked, these services are checked to support previous versions of DataPower. In the Advanced tab, much like the Advanced tab in the previous service, we can set up a custom SSL profile, which is using the same certificates I've created for all of these services. The SLM tab is used to provide a SLM update interval for pushing SLM updates to peers. We'll leave both of these tabs set to the default values and click on Apply. Okay, the REST management interface is used to programmatically configure DataPower using a REST JSON-based configuration management API. To enable this service, we'll simply click on the Enable box, and we'll also give it a specific IP address here. We'll keep the default port the same. We actually use the same SSL profile that we've been using for the other services, so we'll just drop that down and pick that profile. The access control list currently allows access to this service from all IP addresses. So now that that's configured, we'll just click on Apply. The Web B2B Viewer Management Service is used to enable the standalone B2B Web Viewer. This viewer allows users to see the state of B2B transactions on the device. It is only available when you have the B2B module installed. We will not enable this service in this demo. We'll cover this in the B2B demos yet to come. So let's go ahead and save changes at this point. And this concludes the network management configuration demo. Thank you for your time.